All right. Well, we're back. Okay. How about let's do it. Hi everyone. Welcome to the Vanpla Cast. I am your host, Hayden, and my other co-host is.
Dan.
You know what?
Hello.
Today we're gonna have a very special guest. Did I just say that in the fucking future tense? I think I did.
guess.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the creator of Vanpla, Nick. Nick, say hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Nick, what year were you active again? I remember you were from there in the beginning, and then like you were like that dad, in the grocery store who never came back after he got some milk or
Yeah,
cigarettes.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it like that. So the beginning, Vanpla started like in 2009, 2010.
I didn't know it was that early.
Yeah, I was involved with Gundam Workshop in Richmond before.
Yeah.
And then after Gundam Workshop closed, there was kind of like a period of time where there wasn't really any like Gundam clubs or anything Gundam related in town. Like there were some shops, but there wasn't any like fan stuff or people getting together or anything. So then in 2009, at I think it's Evolution at the convention center downtown.
Yeah.
I met Spencer Wilson.
Okay.
At Monster Attack Team Canada's table there.
Is that when you first met them?
Yeah, that was like the first time. And so
damn.
I met him and Stan and Ian at the same time that day.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like Monster Attack Team Canada is a much older club, and it's like all sci-fi. And so they don't they don't do like a lot of mecha stuff. Like it's included. There's lots of people in the club who do mecha, but tons of people who don't do mecha. And so like Gundam kind of had like a funny reputation at that time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like people thought the kits were really easy. So they were like, I don't know. They were different from like vinyl models or pro models, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's kind of weird. I mean, like Gundams I think it's always been kind of easier than other types of scale models, but I think compared to now, it's easier than ever, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Technology for the last 10 years has caught up so much that they're basically like the toys. Honestly.
Well, I mean, like, look at the entry grade. You can get like a highly posable, like really nice looking Gundam for like $15, and it's on only 2 runners. Like, what the hell? And only 6 polycaps, you know?
Yeah, it's changed up. Okay, but I don't know. I think it's just changed way too much. It's so articulated now, the stuff, right? I remember 10 years ago, like I was building like some HG kit, and everyone kind of gravitated more towards MGs, but now it's trending towards the opposite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, for a while, like people were buying only master grades or 1/100s, and it's more expensive, right?
Yeah.
And like now people have kind of figured out, well, it's better to get a bunch of high grades than to save up and get one master grade.
Well, I mean, it's like the Dietloff like IKEA cabinet where you can fit, I think, like 5 master grades on a shelf versus like 15 high grades, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And I think like if you're younger too, like if you're buying a high grade, there's a way higher chance that you're going to finish it than a master grade, which you might get stuck on because you might break a piece or just lose interest or something like that. You can crank out high grades though, and it's easy.
Right, that's true.
So it's more rewarding, you know, for beginners and stuff.
Yeah. But I guess going back to that story though, 2009.
Yeah.
So you went to the Monster Attack Team table, right? That's
yeah, and then I remember Spencer Wilson was there. And he was building a Most Peta kit, like from way back in the day.
A what kit?
A Most Peta kit, you know, like Macross.
Oh, Most Peta.
Or no, not Macross, but Robotech, the second arc, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was like one of the motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like flipping my shit because like no one was building that stuff anywhere.
I don't think a lot of people still are building that stuff here, even.
No, it's still weird. So like,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's crazy! You're building this weird kit. I love that kind of stuff. We're best friends now. We should hang out. And like, and Ian was there, and he was like, I can't remember. He was building like a scope dog or some kind of like Votoms thing. And he
Yep.
was like, fuck yeah, old robots. And so I started going to Monster Attack Team meetings. But like, it wasn't really meshing with Monster Attack Team because they had some like really old monster guys who just weren't like we weren't in the same hobby. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah,
I think
we were
they
like,
just discussed it.
we
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
start like a separate club meeting. And at the time, Spencer was running Urban Samurai, which was a store in Lougheed, I think.
Yeah. It was Urban
And
Samurai before A3U.
yeah,
Or
before
any of
Ages
that.
3 and up.
Yeah.
And it was more of a like a figure store, you know, like 1/8 scale figures and stuff like that, and accessories.
That's right. Yeah. I remember
So,
that.
and not as much like robot and like transformer stuff, but like he was really into it, and he was like, well, like I can like sponsor us if we want to like start like just a robot club, like a Gundam club, and
Right.
and that's what we did.
Oh, and I remember one of your first meetings was like at the cafeteria of what was it?
Metrotown.
Metrotown. Yeah.
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 So yeah, Ages 3 and up was in Metrotown then. So
Oh shit.
because
Really? I thought it was called
Spencer,
he owned Metropolis Comics and Toys too though.
so I think
Remember?
it was, I can't remember because the names changed and stuff.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
Metropolis
it
Comics and
was
Toys
Metropolis back then.
besides Games Workshop, right?
Yeah.
That's Metropolis Comics and Toys. Yeah. That was at
And
Metrotown.
so so we had our first meetings at Metrotown, and it was me, Spencer, Stan from Monster Attack Team, Ian,
Yep.
and I think there was like Austin Sai and Alan Singh from Gundam Workshop, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wilson would show up, and those were like the first few meetings was like those guys, and
Yeah.
I remember like it was we were like so excited to like go through. Stan would always have like the latest Hobby Japan and stuff,
Yeah,
and like
Stan is
back
the
then
guy.
it was
Yeah.
still a big deal like to see
Yeah.
it fresh,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
would like go through all the magazines. We got like Wilson brought Joey's magazine from Hong Kong, and we check it out,
Oh,
all that stuff.
yeah.
And so yeah, those first meetings were more like we bring in stuff we were working on to like ask each other for ideas and like show each other the latest magazines and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that I felt like it was a lot more simpler back then. I mean, you guys had limited resources too, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
2010 online sphere was like completely different, right?
Yeah, we had a forum, like a web,
Yeah, Vanpla
like a
forum. I remember
bulletin
that.
board, like a PHP BB
Yeah.
fucking forum.
Yeah, I remember
And it
that.
was a nightmare,
I mean, like,
Face-
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, I kind of like this, like the bulletin form style, because I can look at people's work in progress, like it's through a journey, and it's
yeah,
not them posting periodically, like their update, because I can't keep up with everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like Facebook just, it's just whatever you post up. So I got really confused on how to use that initially, but I think the forums in retrospect, like if someone were to look at a build from start to finish and they want to see that process, it's a lot more transparent. It's a lot easier to understand. But I guess
Yeah.
that's why people have like, Instagram and stuff like that now, right? So
Yeah. I think
Instagram can like
a
collect all
lot
your
of like
stuff.
great builders are on Twitter, which is the worst format for going back to like look something up. You're like, oh, that
Yeah.
was really cool. What was that on? You're never gonna find it. Forget it.
Yeah, that's true. I always get linked Twitter posts, and then I don't know any of the builders' names, but a lot of their stuff is like really, really good. The
Yeah.
Japanese guys all are on Twitter,
Yeah.
and
Inexplicably.
yeah, it's just really weird. I don't know. I don't think Twitter is a good platform for sharing model kits, anyways.
Instagram seems much better with pictures and stuff, but
Yeah,
anyways, yeah. Back in the day, magazines.
it was a
So
shit.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so that was like the first like I don't know 6 months of meeting or something like that, and
yeah.
then Vanpla, it was still pretty small, so we actually like had meetings at Spencer's house and stuff like that,
Yeah, I remember he did an airbrush demo, and that's where we took that photo together.
Did a crazy good airbrush demo on Stan's Millennium Falcon, like a
pre-shading. Oh thing. Yeah, it was Millennium Falcon. Yeah, it was.
That was really cool. That kind of like hands-on demo stuff back then, because the club was really small. We were really striving for like that kind of thing, like more like a learning, sharing atmosphere, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I think maybe like 1 or 2 years in, Derek showed up at a Monster Attack Team meeting, and he said that he was interested in being involved with the club and stuff. And he hadn't actually been to a Vanpla meeting yet. He just showed up at Monster Attack Team and talked to us about it.
Yeah, that's the time when we like came back from Japan. So
yeah, he had just gotten back, and he was like, "I want to get involved in the scene. I think what everyone's doing is great." And we were like, that's awesome, because we want energy going into it, because it was like growing at that time. And so Derek became super involved, and the club just like blew up from there.
Yeah. That's the part where I guess last time, like on the last podcast, we had Derek on, and he was talking about basically his involvement, and then from onwards, right, those details. But I think the most fascinating was the time technically before Derek, because Derek, what he would say is like, oh, we have to get organized, we have to go to like his basement, right? I remember his basement.
And
then
the
dojo, and then he went to Adam's house as well, right? Adam had his place open for a bit.
We did some demos at Adam's house as well.
The putty stuff. Like,
even then, I mean, I think I did a styrene folding demo there. That was like, I thought it was really cool. That was fun. But like, there was like so many people in Adam's house. It was difficult, man.
He had like hella roommates too. He had like 4 roommates or 5. I don't even remember.
Luckily, they were pretty chill,
Yeah, they were just random dudes.
Yeah, it was difficult, and it got to the point where Adam was like, "Listen, I can't host anymore because like it's just too much. No one could do it." And we were like, "Yeah, we need to like change venues and figure stuff out." And that was way before like the cafe meetups and stuff like that. Like that was like we were like meeting at the mall or meeting at someone's house still.
Yeah. Those, I don't know. I think those days are just like, you can get what you can find, and I remember I basically just followed Jason, right? Because
Jason,
fucking guy.
Jason showed up at the first Monster Attack Team meeting that I did. We were both the new guys. And like I remember being like, I want to talk about Gundam, but like no one there was into it except for Stan, and so like Jason was there, and he asked me just a shit ton of questions. He didn't know anything back then, man.
Like, I don't think he still knows anything. Shout outs to Jason.
Shout out to Jason.
Dumb fuck. Yeah, it really was like that,
Jason brought the energy from the beginning. Yeah, Jason was at those early meets too, man. Now that I think about it, fuck, I just forgot he was there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a mental hole in your brain.
Yeah.
But I remember I showed up to Stan's house, and I remember like in the last podcast I mentioned this as well. It was a story of me, and Stan was telling it, and he was saying like, oh yeah, so there's this like, kid who showed up to my house, and the dad like followed me right after, and then the dad like looked at the Oni like demon sculpture, and it's like, oh my goodness, Jesus.
You want to know what that was? That was my mega size RX-78 that I just reposted today.
What the
fuck? I'm sorry, please go on about the Oni.
Oh no, yeah, my dad saw the Oni, and then his face was like, oh shit, did my son like join some fucking cult or some shit? But Stan could like never forget that reaction that my dad had. But to be fair, I was like really young. I was like, what, 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah, I remember your dad dropped you off. It was hilarious. Even we were like, what the fuck? Like, I wouldn't do that. Look at these guys. Holy shit.
I just imagine like just Nick and the guys just sitting there minding their own business, and here comes this like little kid Half with like his dad's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, to some guy's house. Yeah, Jason was a bad enabler, you know. But,
yeah, but there was a bunch of Gundam guys that just suddenly showed up, like this weird ragtag crew.
Yeah,
and we were, hey, let's start our own club.
Yeah.
That's the origins of Vanpla, basically.
Yeah, and cool thing is Nick Stan was very like supportive of that as well.
Stan was super supportive, and like
Yeah.
in the early days, like we were like, oh, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna have a membership and charge money and do shows and all this crazy stuff? And Stan really was like, hey man, I've been doing this for like 20 years, and if you don't keep it simple, like you guys are gonna like screw it up and burn out.
Yeah.
And so we definitely like stayed by that guiding principle to like try to keep things realistic when we're doing anything.
Yeah, I like that Stan's like a mediator. He
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stan even he wrote the introduction to the book, the Mecha Model Guide book.
Right, and you also wrote the Mecha Model book guide, which what was it called? Mono Eye Press.
Mono Eye Press.
What?
Yeah. So me and Derek and Ian and Rob Davidson started like a publishing company, and we wrote a English book on Gunpla. It's just like a beginner's how-to book, and we self-published it, and it did okay. It was like ahead of its time and behind the curve at the same time, but like it was really cool. I thought,
I gotta track this down. That sounds rad as hell.
I remember you guys had like Mecha quick tips.
Fuck, I did the Mecha quick tips, and
I know you fucking did they were really good, but I remember I was like, geez, this is probably a lot of work for some quick tips.
It was, and like some of the tips, like I like was under pressure to come up with tips after a while, because people were like, "Oh, the quick tips are great. You got to have more quick tips," and like some of them were clearly not as good tips as other tips,
Yeah,
yeah, people really liked them, and they were really successul, and they helped like Mono Eye Press on Facebook a lot, get like a lot of traction before we like pivoted to memes,
Yeah, I think I mean, like your background is what? You're an illustrator or something?
I'm a graphic designer.
Yeah. So I think, your shit was like clean, easy to understand, really reminiscent of like the Hobby Japan stuff,
I studied all that stuff like ever since I was a kid. Like I have a huge Hobby Japan collection, and like I still flip through it, and I don't read Japanese.
You just look at pictures, right?
Yeah, you just look at it and figure it out. And like some people, like they can learn that way, like you can look at pictures and you can kind of figure it out. And like I remember when I was younger, it was really difficult for me to like find out what products were, specific products. Like I know they're using this to do this, but I don't know what it is. And so like I remember going like back in the day, going into Gundam Workshop with the magazine and being like, what is this? How can I buy this? And they'd be like, oh, that's polyester putty, or oh, that's baking soda, or whatever,
Yeah.
And that was like the only way to learn stuff, like before Vanpla and the internet and everything was like just to ask people who knew, right? You had to go online, send people emails, and go on forums, right? Forums were so good, and like international forums back then, like there wasn't like a lot of choice. Like the English forums were kind of crappy, so like you could go onto like an Italian forum, or you could go onto like a Thai web forum, and they might have like really cool stuff.
They were a lot more developed.
Yeah, everything's like so established. Like you just go on Instagram, and like there aren't communities anymore, really.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, everyone's kind of like a offshoot to its own little page, right? And it pretty independent. I remember. I think you go type in what like Gundam now on YouTube. You can find anything almost.
You can find a lot of stuff looking at like Gunpla tutorial on Pinterest or YouTube, right?
Yeah, I mean, the beginner stuff can honestly be explained in like a goddamn infographic, right?
Yep.
It's just like one picture is all you need to learn how to start building Gundams. I mean, it's really not hard. You just take pliers, cut the nubs, follow the instructions. Oh, speaking of instructions, I still have a copy of Nick. Do you remember you did those like Maquet style like cutouts, and instead of Maquet information, it's like the signs, like what they mean and everything.
Yeah, like
the Japanese like
the
signs.
symbols from the
Yeah.
instruction manuals.
Yeah.
Because like it wasn't online yet. Now you can Google it and you'll find like a whole bunch of translations and stuff. And the manuals now, they're even in English, so it doesn't
Everything's it's English is up to shit now. Yeah,
but like those early Vanpla meetings, we like had like tons of swag. Like I really wanted. I was like, well, while it's like low numbers showing up, we want to like make sure people are leaving with like really cool stuff, so that more people want to come.
Yeah.
So like in the early meetings, we had like the translation card, and I worked in a print shop, so I was able to print all this crazy stuff for like basically nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I was I had access to like cutting machines and stuff, so we would have like we had like the symbol card. We had a card that showed like how the Xeon ranking symbols work, like all the chevrons and stuff.
I remember that. Yeah, the Xeon stuff too, right?
Yeah. And like I can't remember. There's other stuff too. Like eventually we did decals, and there's t-shirts and stuff like that.
I remember you had the fuck Earth decals. I know that was you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know what? Those like decals had like a pretty bad feedback, and I think I still saw a sheet like floating around at like the last Vanpla Pacific show, whatever.
Yeah, because they were selling it. I think they just still had like extras or something.
Yeah, because no one wants that decal.
I bought it for the fuck Earth decal.
I want to buy a fuck Earth decal. Like shit.
There's an Easter egg on that one because there's like a serious typo somewhere. I can't remember what it is, but
serious typo.
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think you put in a lot of work during that time.
Yeah, we did. Like I remember even our business cards, we like printed like they all had different Kunio Okawara artworks printed on the back.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So like you'd have to like try to collect like 20 business cards that just say Vanpla. And like it was really for the people in the club. Like no one, like the only people who took those cards were people already in the club. You know what I mean? They just thought that kind of stuff was so cool. And we had tons of stuff like that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, back then it was even hard to find prints of Gundam.
Yeah, we gave away tons of posters too, like 12 by 18 posters and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I remember you printed some like Okawara posters on, and then you slapped the Vanpla logo on top or something like that.
I can't remember, but like we were just a fan club, so legally, Kunio Okawara can go to hell.
Yeah.
I don't know about now though. Like, maybe now that wouldn't fly as well because like there's so many sponsorships involved with the club, and back then it was just like Spencer.
Yeah.
From what I know, as like an independent illustrator, if you're doing like fan artwork and stuff, as long as you don't go anywhere near like the territory of the mouse, then you'll be fine. But we did have a story in my publishing and promotion class earlier this year where Disney lawyers would go around like artist alleys and be like, oh, that guy's drawing our character. That guy's drawing our stuff, and just like, so avoid the mouse. Thank God Gundam isn't involved with it yet, but
yet, when that like shitty Gundam movie inevitably comes to North America, like the mouse is going to be everywhere on top of that thing.
King Savior 2.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, even what is it this year, though, the Walking Gundam? I am actually so concerned for that in relations to the movie, because if the movie uses that Gundam, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. It looks awful. It's the I don't like the panel lining on that Walking Gundam.
It looks like second or third like attempt at panel lining. Yeah. While you don't know the rules just yet, right?
Yeah, I mean they made it up, so then I guess they can say like, oh, there's no fucking rules, but it just looks it looks fucking jarring, man. I don't know if they use that for the movie. I'm gonna be very sad, because the walking Gundam looks like it's on life support. Like there's like a giant black, like beam that's holding it in place.
Yeah.
I thought what was gonna happen was like they're actually gonna make a real walking Gundam, as in the piece will like like retract or something, and it could walk on its own. But seeing the test and everything, I know that's clearly not the case.
I think we're about like 20 years off of that kind of technology.
I think it's also extremely dangerous if they don't have that thing in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that. I mean, I guess it's a safety thing too.
Liability.
Yeah, liability. Yeah, no one can pay those bills if they get hit.
But there's no reason we don't have Gun Tank rolling down the street right now.
Yeah.
Man, can I just say Gun Tank is like my favorite underutilized idea? Like, it shows up in 0079 and it's cool as hell, mecha on treads. But no one ever does anything with it.
Yeah, because they're in space, right?
Yeah, but you could like put like a base jabber for its legs, or I don't know. That's a tangent.
We need tangents.
We need tangents.
I think the show it would not be. I mean, it would be too focused. Like
it
I would
wouldn't
ask.
be what it is today if we didn't go off on tangents.
We didn't have too many of these, but I guess, Nick, you mentioned like you had, what was it? You started as a kid building Gundams, and
yeah,
that's fucking bizarre to me because it was so inaccessible to me like 10 years ago. I don't know how it's like even if when you were a kid.
I was like in the right place at the right time. Like around 2001, I guess they showed Gundam Wing on TV here, for the first time.
Oh, right. You are that generation. Right.
And so, yeah, I was like 13 or 12 or something like that. And at that time, I lived in Richmond, and like fucking everyone in school was from Hong Kong and had cool Gundam models. And they were like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we've seen Gundam Wing, we've seen all that stuff. That's whatever. Check out my cool Gundam. Like, oh my God, these are amazing. I wish I had these. And then, like, kind of like in my neighborhood, like not very far away, there is this store called Gundam Workshop. And so my first time buying a Gundam, though, I remember I was at Richmond Center. Those like kiosks in the middle.
Yeah.
There was one of them that was selling some Gundam models.
What?
And so I bought one it was the high grade Death Scythe Hell Custom. Which
wow.
I didn't know what it was because it's not even in the show. It's in the movie Endless Waltz, right? But like I was like, this is cool. This is it. And I got it, and it was like, like the molding was kind of questionable, but I didn't know about that like at the time that like Bandai molding was really good. And like I found out many years later, I was going through my instruction sheets and I found the instructions for it, and it said Bendy instead of Bandai on the logo. And I found out it was like a bootleg kit. So that wasn't even like my original, like my first Gundam. My first Gundam I bought from Joey at Gundam Workshop.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it was a high grade goof.
High grade goof? Like the old one?
Yeah, it was brand new. It came out like 2001 or something.
Holy shit.
Wow.
But it was like one of the early high grades, like it was like way at the beginning of the line. And then I bought a bunch more stuff at Gundam Workshop. And Joey, he would like give me like Hobby Japan like inserts and stuff. Like, the little booklets that come inside and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
He'd be like, oh my God, you're not gonna know what to do here. Take this. And so that was like my first exposure of like what to do. And like I knew that they did classes and stuff, but like I couldn't afford it back then and all that kind of stuff. And my parents like weren't supportive of Gunpla. So
Oh, okay. Damn. Joey. Damn, fucking Joey. I didn't expect him to give people just random pamphlets. You don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, Joey totally like radicalized me as a youngster, man. like I was just like, oh, these are cool. And he's like, hey kid, read this. And I was like, what? You can like do all this cool stuff? Like you can modify them to be better and all this other stuff. And he was trying to like promote the class, like, But
take my class.
Yeah, like, take my class for more cool tips. And I knew people who took the classes, and I remember them telling me like they'd be like, he's crazy. He gives you homework and like worksheets and stuff. And
Worksheets?
Yeah, man, he'd send you home with worksheets. Ask Wilson about it sometime. Wilson got worksheets.
The
and
fuck?
And Wilson's really good at modeling, so I'm certain that like Joey's teaching techniques, at least, they work for some people. So
But
yeah,
the
unfortunately,
is insane. Damn.
Yeah, I was never able to take his classes. I hope like Gundam Workshop comes back.
Yeah, that sounds rad as hell, man.
Damn.
Because the only reason Vanpla exists is because Gundam Workshop closed, and like that community, like
scattered.
The forum eventually closed. Yeah, they didn't have anywhere to go, and so like we just started hanging out vaguely with each other, and if Gundam Workshop had stayed around, I'm sure like it would still like they wouldn't be Vanpla. There would just be Gundam Workshop. I'm certain.
Gundam Workshop, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any like old photos of the Gundam Workshop place?
I don't know. Probably not, because I lost a hard drive. I used to have pictures from the contests back then and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because there were some like, yeah, man. Like I met Taka at a contest at Gundam Workshop.
Yeah.
And fuck, I can't remember.
Leslie?
Who else? Leslie. Oh my God, Leslie was a legend back then.
Yeah.
Now he's like just a demigod. I don't know where he is. He just floats around.
He's on the server.
Yeah.
He joined like I think a month back or something. But
you gotta give like these people special roles and shit so people know.
Old boomers on their way out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just might, damn. I don't know. I think that era was very interesting. Do you have any like stories? Oh shit! Fucking my pen just fell. You have any stories of Gundam Workshop? You seem like that guy who just did you just walk in alone? Because I feel like Gundam Workshop probably has like a very tight knit like Asian community.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I first went to like Gundam Workshop, like I was totally used to being the only white person in like a store, because like I was into anime and manga and shit, and you couldn't get it really back then, right?
Yeah.
So, but it was accessible to me because I happened to live in Richmond, and like on every corner there was someone selling VCDs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like I could get tons of like anime, but it was all in like Cantonese or dubbed in like random languages. So I didn't know what was going on, but I could see stuff. And like I'm just rambling. What was the question?
Oh no, just tell me how it was like.
Tell us more about like stuff in Richmond, man.
Yeah, interesting story. So like I can't remember where I was going with that story.
Maybe we do need to have the boomer old role, like having dementia as we speak.
Oh no. Well, I think we were talking about how you got involved with Gundam Workshop because you were talking about because you grew up in Richmond.
Oh yeah, so like, I was the only white person going into the store. And yeah, when I went to the Gundam Workshop, that was totally true. Like there would always be people in there, but like there's only white kids. There are no white kids ever. And so like it was weird because the first contest I went to at Gundam Workshop, I was the only white person, and it was really fucking stressful, man. Because I remember one of the people that worked at Gundam Workshop, they were like, well, we were gonna do it in like Chinese, but I guess we'll do it in English now, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. And I remember they were like at the end, like one of the judges was like, it's really crazy that there's like so many different kinds of people here, And I was like, oh man, I totally feel like called out. But like I remember even Taka was there, and Taka wasn't speaking Chinese, so they kind of had to do it in English anyways.
Yeah.
But like it was hard those first couple of years. And like online, man, holy smokes, the websites were so bad back then.
Gundam Workshop had a website?
Yeah, Gundam Workshop had a website with tutorials and stuff. And I remember like sending like an email form to Joey asking him like, hey man, every time I build a model and use putty, it cracks. What do I do? Because I wasn't cementing it.
Yeah.
And he was like very patient with me, man. But like, yeah, he was always like, you gotta take my class, you know?
Yeah. Take his class. Fuck. Where was workshop located? I remember I was guessing that it was in like Odland, like Crescent Center area, like near
It was in the
Aberdeen.
Excel Center. Do you remember that?
What
That
the
building?
what is that?
So like, you
Excel?
know, it's like, yeah, it's like an outdoor shopping mall. Like, there's like a funeral home or something on like Canby Street, you know? Do you know
Oh
where that is?
shit. Yeah, I do.
Okay. It used to be, it's across from like Continental Center, and like Boom Arcade used to be there. And like, anyways, it's like
Wow.
like an outdoor shopping mall, and you can kind of go inside, and the parking's in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
And Gundam Workshop was there, and then after a few years, it moved to another like retail space, in another building, like right behind it.
Oh, okay. So
There was a couple locations, and I think that was after Joey went back to Hong Kong.
yeah, he left too. Damn, like as soon as he left, he just he only just recently came back.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I thought he was going to be gone forever.
Yeah. I had no idea that he was gonna come back. I mean, I heard about, like, I think I remember when I first started, and they talk about Gundam Workshop, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" There's no YouTube channel called Gundam Workshop or something like that. But you guys were all talking about the store. Felt bad because I wasn't a part of that. I really wanted to see what his shop looked like.
Yeah,
Seems,
well, maybe he'll get a chance now, right?
yeah, seems like a low key like elitist club, but like in a good way.
Only because a lot of the people that went to Gundam Workshop actually are elite. Like, they were really good models in Hong Kong before they ever came here or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
Leslie is elite, you know? I think that Wilson, especially now, Wilson became like an amazing model builder now,
Yeah.
you know? And like, that shit counts, you know? Like, that's not just like talking about anime. You know, you look at their work and it's pretty.
I like that. Like Wilson doesn't even watch a lot of um like anime at all. I don't think he does that shit anymore.
Yeah, that's
He's
so
just
cool, right? Like, fuck
what a
all that
cool guy.
shit. Like, you know, like,
Yeah,
Wilson's like, I don't
yeah.
have time for that. I'm building, you know, whatever crazy ass thing he's working on. Wilson
Yeah.
actually got me really into building like smaller scale Gunpla. Like, for a while,
Yeah.
every time I saw Wilson, he would like give me a really cool kit, and I was like, why are you like giving me all this cool stuff? But it was always like really small scale stuff, like like 1/250, or like, you know, weird little like, or like, you know,
Miscellaneous stuff.
yeah, you'd get like an armor model, and it would like come with a little Gundam or a little GM or something like that.
Yeah.
And he started like giving me all that stuff. And so I wound up with all these like small scale things, and I started painting them, and they're actually really, really fun. Like, I got into it.
Yeah, I remember
Like,
he had this crazy high gog, and I was like, "Wow, what kid is that?" He's like, "No, it's a gashapon." I'm like, "What?"
yeah,
He just has a
yeah,
gashapon. Yeah, he's just painting them.
yeah, and like, yeah, he got into smaller stuff, and like, I really, I learned a lot because I learned to paint some more, and like, you know, like the Warhammer miniatures and stuff. That's elitist. Holy smokes!
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Compared to
yeah.
Oh
Gunpla,
yeah.
because those guys are like, there's one way to paint. If you have arthritis or a missing finger, fuck you, pick another hobby.
Oh
You
my
know?
god.
And it's like, what? Like, but like in the Gundam community, it's always like, oh, you can do it like 800 ways. Oh my god, try one, you know?
Yeah.
I never heard of Warhammer being described elitist that way, but I
mean,
guess.
it's
You
possible
ever
that
look at
like
no, go on to like Reddit or something and look at the Warhammer like mini painting stuff, and like there's one style, man, and if you don't have it, you're not a painter, you know?
yeah, I think I mean I feel that way with Gunpla Reddit as well though. Like
Yeah.
Gunpla Reddit
I
is
think
just
your problem might just be you're just going on Reddit.
No, well,
that's fine.
Gunpla Reddit's pretty terrible too, actually.
Hey, let's
Like,
put him on blast.
I
Let's
don't
talk
go on
about this.
Gunpla Reddit. Yeah, there's nothing of value to see. But
I don't know. It's just like I'm okay with people posting new snap fits. that's fine because they're just getting in the hobby, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
I don't
if
care at
they're
all.
excited about that, I'm like, oh great, okay, that's good. But the people who post there like pretty often, they I don't know, man. There's no substance there. And I remember I got in an argument with this dumb fucking guy long time ago. He was saying like, oh, you have to paint it this way, and I'm like, no, you don't. And he's like, dude, you don't even know anything, all right? You don't know anything about anything. And you know, the only way to paint Gundams is using like Mr. Color or Tamiya. Okay, if you don't use that stuff, you know, you're not. It's not Gundam or whatever. And then
It's not Gundam.
I'm like, what the fuck are you on about, dude? Like, holy shit! You know, you're painting on fucking plastic toys, right? Like, get a life.
Yeah.
Fuck. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, like, okay, if I'm online and I see someone post a snap fit and I think, oh, well, they're 12 years old, then like whatever, right?
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
I don't know if you're clearly like an adult and like you can afford, you know, better model kits, better paints, better tools, and like you just don't, and you're like, I
Mhm.
just like snapping them together. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe don't post them. You know?
I mean, there's like an inheritance, like I mean, there's an inherent like value in the fact that they build it. I mean, I think a lot of people build for different reasons, right?
Yeah,
Like maybe
absolutely.
they spend it all on like they're just siphoning it into their like alimony payments instead. You know, that's
Yeah.
why
Well, you
they
know, like
spend.
people like Lego and people like puzzles and like whatever. You know, people are trying to get different things out of the hobby. Not everyone's trying to build a custom
Yeah.
or whatever, or win an award or build something that gets a lot of likes or whatever. But
Mhm.
like, you know, if you're building like a snapped whatever, snapped gun, look, you're building a snapped R7. Do you really need to document it? Don't you think we got it? You know?
You haven't seen my RX-78. It's poorly posed. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
and
God.
It's missing
posing,
a V-fin.
just upside down beefing. That's good.
But it's art, okay? You wouldn't get it.
Yeah,
I think
but
that's
there's a
yeah.
posing epidemic. You know, like there's something wrong. People don't
Posing
pose.
epidemic.
Well, because look, at every year, you know, the Gundam, the RX-78 comes out with more articulation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And people don't need it. People don't want to have to worry about 800 little joints. And so when they put it, it looks like one of those like, you know, like it looks like a, I don't know, like it's all going in different directions. Like the poses are bad, you know? Like
I
if they
think
had a kit that had 4 points of articulation, they would have come up with a better pose than something horrifyingly unnatural where like their like shins are like curved backwards and like I mean you guys have seen this stuff on like Vanpla, the terrible posing for the G40.
Oh yeah.
No one asked for the G40 to have that much articulation. Nobody wants it in like Gunpla either. Like,
I
it's like
think it's honestly a gimmick, you know? It's kind of like this is what I'm saying.
articulation.
I
I-
love the the design. There's flexibility, which is options, but I'm pretty sure realistically people won't use every single point to it, right?
yeah, but
Mm,
I mean the problem though is that like it has to be set somewhere, and people just won't set it. Like they won't set it to like normal.
next thing you
Everything will
know,
be a
we're gonna
little bit crooked, and you're looking at it like
yeah.
through like a warped mirror, and you're like, why is this Gundam like janky, right?
I think a big problem is that like no shows nowadays really like actually like people aren't exposed to like good posed characters anymore. Like in the at least with a Transformers through the mid 2000s, you had a bit of the Obari and like Brave Robot series like influence on there, right? Where you've got like chest out, arms back, like
Well, they
feet
literally pose for
apart.
the camera, right? You know, that
Yeah,
was the
exactly.
trend
You
back
like
then.
you see that in your memory, and you're like, I want to pose my Optimus Prime like he is in the show, and you can't back then because like the toys were shit. But
Yeah, they fucking were fucking bad.
but like I think now the toys are up to snuff, or like the figures are up to snuff with being able to handle those poses, but people don't nowadays, modern audiences don't see those poses anymore. so they don't know what to pose.
You know
kid
what?
like, right?
You know what? I blame
What?
those figure fucks. Okay, fuck those guys, because I think this is what's actually going on in the industry when you know when these figure guys, the companies start improving the articulation, right? They force also other industries to match up to that standard of toyness, because ultimately Gunpla was marketed towards children, right? I think their model is still, they're slowly shifting, right, to maybe like teenagers instead, right?
Yeah.
And then they're different like series, like SDs and stuff like that. Entry grades are meant for like younger kids. They even have the Pokemon stuff, right? But I feel like the increase in articulation is a direct correlation from the industry trying to like tell them to change. You need to have more posability onto your kit, or nobody would buy it or something like that, right? And I think that's why, like, if Bandai did like fucking 5-star story or something, it would like completely ruin 5-star story, because 5-star story just has that one pose, and there's a lot of like, I don't know. I get a feeling of was it like grandiose? Like when I set that thing down and I finish painting it and it doesn't move, it's just standing there. There's more value to that than just like an idly posed small Gundam kit, right?
I
So
definitely build like static pose nowadays, and that's something I learned from Leslie back in the day. Like I remember he
yeah,
did like a Deep Striker or something like, or no, it was the O. He did a really crazy good job of custom the O, and
is it
he
the
entered
Neo
in. I think it
Geo
was
thing?
maybe it was Neo Geo. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it was a resin kit or if he like scratch built all of it or part of it, but like
Yeah,
yeah, it was crazy nice. And
yeah,
I think he entered it in Dengeki contest in Hong Kong,
yeah.
and like one of the judges like went to move the pose and it was super glued and it just shattered, like it broke like a
Oh
limb
my!
off or a part off,
Holy shit!
and it was
Yeah,
like and like he had a chance at winning that year. Like his kit was
yeah.
really nice, and
hmm
so I remember it was just like one of those
Why
horror
did the
stories.
judge fucking touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What the
like
fuck?
especially at that kind of a venue, like you should know better. You
Yeah,
really should.
Oh my
that's
Unless
fucking
god.
maybe it
unprofessional.
was like some pedestrian or child or something, and the story got relayed wrong. But like
Oh,
basically, someone touched it and it broke. But I heard it was the judge back in the day.
damn! What a dick.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember he fixed it. He like re-glued it, and the kit was
Yeah.
fine like afterwards. But like, yeah, that was brutal. But I remember that was when I first started thinking like, man, I gotta start gluing myself in fixed poses so that no one can fuck with it, right? Like,
Yeah.
or if you touch it and it's broken, you broke it. You have to live with that. That's not the like artwork I made. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but like
That's
people don't want to make bases, and like how like a kit comes with the instruction sheet and you flip it over and like it'll be like, here's 3 poses we know it can make, and you can like pick one of them. People don't look. They don't like look at the last sheet and see what the kit can do, because
Mhm.
like if Bandai can't make it look cool, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
because they're not using, especially back in the day, they wouldn't use like a action base or whatever. They just have the kit floating in a position that it would never be able to do in
Oh
real
yeah,
life. And so if it didn't look good in the back of the manual, like it was
yeah.
never going to work.
I think that's
And
why,
but
like, yeah. Please go on. I was gonna.
well, that's why like today I really like to do fixed poses, and also because fixed poses are so much more durable, and you don't have to worry about paint scratching or any of that stuff. And like, yeah, you can take it to a contest, and it's not a big deal, right? If your like kid is just standing there
It's
and
not
it's
gonna
fully
fucking move
painted,
anyways.
well, like if you take it to a contest, it's gonna move. You're gonna get there. You're gonna have
Oh,
to
I'm
move
talking
it.
about like,
And
I'm saying like once you set it down in place, the
oh
pose.
yeah,
It's
yeah, totally. And
like
like
when you show it off, it's just that one pose. It's not gonna articulate in any way.
yeah, like I'm not gonna play with it. And listen, I understand that like some people like articulation and they want to like have something where they can change the pose every week when they get bored with it or whatever. And that's
hmm
cool. But like if you're gonna like enter a contest or something, I think fixed pose is totally the way to go. Because the only reason you wouldn't do fixed pose is to just show off that like your paint isn't flaking off everywhere. You know what I mean? Like if you have like a transformable HGUC kit, like or Zeta or something like that, like
Yeah.
yeah, man, that kit's a freaking nightmare. Like mad props for doing that. But like, what's the benefit? There isn't one. If it's on your shelf, you're either in Wave Rider mode or you're not, right?
It's true, yeah. You just want to transform it once probably, and then it's just gonna like shatter.
Yeah, and even if you look at back in the day, like if you look in the 90s at like early master grade and high grade kits that were coming out, like if you look close, you can see around the joints. If you know where to look, you'll see paint flaking off, even in the magazines and stuff, because there's no real solution for that. It's a serious problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you can use lacquer paints, but like you could still get unlucky. It depends, right? And like you can like sand your joints and add clearance and stuff like that, but that's a lot of work too.
Yeah, lacquer paints are still cracking. I literally just had like a guy yesterday message me. He was like, "So how do you like stop things from cracking?" Like, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh, I used Mr. Hobby, and then when I moved the joint, it cracked. It chipped the paint." And I just said, I just hide that shit. I don't tell anybody that it's cracked. They're just like, if a judge has to, if they are a good judge, they're able to find it. If they can't, then you know what?
Then you got away with it.
Yeah,
and you
He
deserve
did a
to
good
win.
job of hiding it.
Yeah.
Like, listen, every kit that wins first place has like tons of crimes hidden all over it. It's just that person knows how to hide mistakes, really well. And like, if you're starting out, if you don't do a perfect job and you don't know how to fix stuff, then like, of course you're not going to like do really well. But like, you have to have everything going together. You have to be able to hide your mistakes, and like you're not going to be perfect ever.
I think that's one hard. I think that's one hard lesson that people have to get. I remember Dan and I, when we first started the podcast, a big topic for us in the library was the fact that beginners have a very, I guess, weird perception of what a model kit is. They build it and they're like, "Look, man, I'm gonna build this." Usually, it's, I don't want to stereotype, but most of them are probably like, heavy arms weapon lovers or something. So they get their Wing Gundam kit, and they're like, "I'm gonna make this fucking amazing, and it's gonna be the best thing ever, and it's gonna shoot everything at the same time." So when they build it and then they paint it, they don't understand how to paint it, and then you tell them like, "Okay, so this, you mix it like this, you mix it like that, okay," and then obviously they do a poor job, right? Because I've never met anyone in my life where they could just do something perfectly the first time. Like there's always going to be some, type of mistake, right? And then they do a poor job. They don't understand why it's not working out. I remember they, like, a lot of people, before they even work on their first model kit, they would buy the fucking airbrush set already. And I'm like, "Listen, buddy, what are you doing?"
I remember in Gundam Workshop watching kids, they'd come in and like their dad or whatever buy them a perfect grade because they were brand new, And like they'd be like, "Oh, custom," and they'd be like, "Oh, first model," and the kid was bigger than the kid walking out of the store. And you're like, there's no way that kid is going to build that model kit,
No.
Like it's just there's no way.
No, the dad probably doesn't even know how to fucking build it,
Yeah, or that dad's a genius and he just bought himself a Wing Zero custom perfect.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh yeah, my wife.
It's for my son. Yeah,
for my son.
Timmy, you're gonna tell your mom that this is for you." And then little Timmy gets burnt out and it's just like, "Oh, your old man's gonna help you with it," and the old man's just like, "It's mine now."
I think that's actually a real thing that happens to a lot of Asian households, though.
Really?
Yeah. I had a friend who would buy model kits, and then he would say his son likes it, and then those two having like an agreement. You know what I mean? Behind mom's back, right? It's like, "Son, why are the model kits all in your dad's room?" "Oh, I'm an artist. I don't need to see it all the time, Some dumb shit like that. But that always happens. But yeah, I guess going back to that thing, but they have a very, like, they romanticize the building aspect, and that's why I don't like those build videos. Well, first of all, I guess I should preface that like I like the end result. I like the process that went into building the model kit themselves. The modeler and the model kit, if they're really good, like at the end you see the model kit and you're like, oh, okay, it looks great. I know that it's because there's like a bunch of fuck up in along the way. I think the best example is do you guys know the Race Studio, the Orazaku winner with the GM sniper?
Yeah.
Nick, are you familiar with that video?
No, yeah, no, I have. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, so a bunch of my buddies and I think that video was actually staged, as in he made the model kit first. He built it, right? And after he won, he got a new GM custom kit. And what he did was he redid the mods to show off how he built this specific piece. And I think the studio itself, the one where he like, you know, it's glamorized, right? Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
The table's like all nice and stuff like that, you know. His tools are like fresh and brand new. It's for the camera, right? And he's
I
just
hate that stuff, man. Like,
yeah, but like yeah, he just cuts the piece out and does the mod beautifully. You know, it cuts to the thing like being primed and everything. I look at that video now and I'm like, oh, it's so cool that he built the Gundam model based on his drawing. But now I realize it's the other fucking way around, right? You know?
Listen, like years and years ago, I remember like when we were doing like lots of contests and stuff. There was one where like I actually like I used to build like joke kits kind of frequent. I still do, I guess, because I did a deep fried Zegok, but like.
Oh yeah, you did the deep fried Zegok, the sushi platter shit. Oh, that was funny.
But like back in the day, I had this idea. I was like, man, I'm gonna build like a diorama and then do the sketch afterward.
You know? Oh yeah.
Like I was like, I'm gonna literally take a picture of the diorama and then like trace it on a light table, and then just shade it a little bit, and then like submit it. And I never did it, but I definitely talked about it at like Vanpla meetings and stuff. Because like people fall for that shit. If it was like not if there weren't judges, if it was by popular vote, like you could totally like hoodwink so many people who wouldn't notice. They'd just be like, wow, that's crazy. This guy like made his like thing perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And yeah, you just have to like even if you make a mistake on your kit, if you can like spin it into like being a good thing, like I think that's where battle damage comes from. Like, be honest, like fucking most people start out, they're like, this is gonna be the cleanest kit ever, it's gonna be like a race car when I'm done, and then at the end they're like, yeah, I'm gonna have like some bullet holes over here, I gotta cover this, you know, this fucking decal's totally fucked, I gotta put some smudges over that, you know.
Yeah, fuck, man. It just feels like I don't know, it's disillusioning, I guess, right? You look at that, but there are instances where
I think it's hilarious. I don't know if it's disillusioning because it makes it fun. You know, you go to a contest and you see something really funny, but like if you did that seriously, like this guy did this to like make a video so that he could get views and make some money after he won a contest. And that feels very dishonorable.
That is exactly what he did, right?
He was like, I actually cheated, you know, like.
My friend was building this the whole time. It's a prank.
Yeah, he was Kawaguchi all along, you know? And they take his mask
off. Right. That fucking guy can't build squat, dude.
I don't think he's built anything in 30 years. You know?
He's a fucking fossil, Kawaguchi.
But you know, he's like an apron model, now. You can order that apron.
Oh my god. Okay, I got a story about fucking Kawaguchi. I remember I mean, like, this guy's old as shit, and he's a single guy, you know. And I remember this was actually in like 2014, 2015. And this is back when Facebook like shows you what other people liked on like other people's statuses and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you know, there was an exhibition around that month. And he took a photo of beside like two girls. Well, to be fair, they were like, I think 18, 19, 20. They were from a modeling agency, and they were dressed like Char or something like that, like dressed like really cute, you know, like sexy Xeon uniform, right? So he took a photo with them, and he's part of the expo and everything. So I'm pretty sure they chatted or something. Next thing you know, by that correlation, I see like my posts is just littered with Kawaguchi liking her photos from like her modeling agency like label. So you just see her like half naked and like some of them, they were almost like nude shots, right? But this is coming from like a man who's like what in his like fucking 50s, 40s, right? And he's liking these photos of like a fucking 20 like 18-year-old, 18, 20-year-old. I don't know. I think that's
Kawaguchi
the day where
gets horny on Maine.
I think that's the day when I was like, this is fucking this is fucked up, and I fucking hate this old man. Like where the fuck is Bakuk when you need him, right?
Mass Bakuk, yeah.
Mass Bakuk was way better than Kawaguchi.
He was, but like heavily flawed. I liked how he was like a Mexican wrestler,
Yeah.
I thought that was very international, and Meijin Kawaguchi seems a bit like he's just gonna like, I don't know, go with whatever Bandai wants, Whatever kit there's a warehouse full of.
Yeah.
At least like Mass Bakuk, that was fun. That was a big show. It was more for kids, I thought. Now it's fucking serious, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, you don't see Bakuk anywhere, right?
Yeah, no, they kind of like totally abandoned it.
It's completely abandoned. I think Bandai just shoved him in the fucking drawer. Oh, I would pay so much fucking money to see Kawaguchi in Bakuk's fucking wrestling costume.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Old man and Lucha Libre go toe to toe. And you just see him like punch his teeth out. Oh man.
Nah, he's gonna like have 2 like craft knives, and he's just ready to like kill people on the fucking wrestling mat. All
right, do you guys know like Yakuza 0?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. I've been vibing so hard to like just watching gameplay, but like like at the end where like Majima squares off against Lao Gui.
Is that
what? Who cares? Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Oops. No, the game's been out for 5 years, like come on.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. If you get spoiled now, it's a bit of your fault. But like he like throws needles and stuff at a Majima, and I'm like, that's what Kawaguchi's gonna be like with like spare hobby blades, just throwing them like knives at him.
No, he'd jump off like the ring, and he'd like pull out a model kit from underneath it and sit down and start building. That's it.
I don't know.
Just like cross-legged,
I don't know. He just says like, I don't know. Have you watched like interviews of Kawaguchi?
No,
like
I've
any
only
of you?
seen his like propaganda, like his Bandai.
Yeah.
But I have not watched
I've never seen like an interview of him talking ever. But like I've read interviews with the other 2 guys from Streambase,
Oh, you have? Oh, right.
Yeah.
You were talking about that the other day. Yeah.
They're not under Bandai, so they can just say kind of whatever they want. Like one of the other guys started Model Graphics, I think.
Yeah.
And the other guy did manga. He's like a famous manga artist. And he's like, but his publisher is like Kodansha or someone else that's huge, so he doesn't have to like listen to Bandai.
Yeah. He can just say whatever he wants. I feel like Bandai is like got a tip-top clean like profile, except Kawaguchi, ironically, like I friended this guy on Facebook thinking like, oh wow, Kawaguchi, and then if I used half a fucking brain, like, and figure out what he did back then, not anything at all. This guy just organized like Streambase, and he was like a community like middleman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
He didn't really like have any artistic like achievements or anything.
Yeah, he was like in the right place at the right time, and I think he's a smart corporate player. You know what I mean? Like he's really good in the boardroom and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean he exhibits that energy completely.
Yeah. And like Bandai is a public company, so like that's what they're looking for, man. Like he's got experience. He's been with them for like 30 years now or whatever, and yeah, like he's like who was it? Katoki can't replace him because he's just too much of a loose cannon, man. Like
Katoki's a loose cannon.
Kawaguchi is like really old school. He's from like the previous generation. Katoki is like fucking too flaky, man. You just put his name on the box and then
he just like fucks off to, I don't know, Paraguay.
He's just like, give me my royalty check, and then he goes like around Southeast Asia just getting drunk.
Katoki has like shaped up ever since HGUC, that was his line, and I guess he just ran with it. Everything looks like Katoki stuff.
Yeah, I loved his vision, but he like disappointed everybody.
He disappointed everybody. I mean, okay, Sentinel was cool. Okay.
Yeah, no. Sentinel is the only reason Katoki had like any validity going into like the 90s, man. Like,
yeah,
that's why they did the high grades and stuff, and then Katoki style took off. But like, what's Katoki style today? It's just whatever kit they need to re-release,
Yeah.
yeah.
With it's not even like what makes a Katoki style. Like, it doesn't harken back to Sentinel or anything. Where's the connection?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I remember there was a story about like bad blood between the Sentinel creator and Bandai, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, at that point, after the those model kits came out for Sentinel, he was like, all right, I'm not touching this ever again. You can talk to Katoki, but I'm the owner and you can't use this property. Like, and then Bandai was like, okay, well, fuck you, we're gonna make our own shit. And then they don't talk for like a long time, right?
Right.
But the Deep Striker, the recent release of the Deep Striker,
yeah,
and the recent re-release of like the 1.5 EXS Gundam. So that was the turning point. So the rumor was that because Kawaguchi's, fat and old now, it means that people have to respect him in the in the Japanese workplace, right? So he's like he's a top spokesperson. He's an executive now, right? So he he wants to talk to him again because they were stream-based buddies, right? So Kawaguchi would like take him out, talk to him, like have dinner or something, and they would negotiate and be like, hey, can Bandai can we release this for the fans or whatever? And then he was just like, you know what, like, Kawaguchi, you own you do the boardroom shit now, right? You do the back end shit. So all those retired fucking old guys, they're gone now. So yeah, I'll let you slide on this one. So that's one of the reasons why Deep Striker got that release, is because Kawaguchi had to negotiate with the Sentinel creator. But
well, they worked it out.
Yeah,
Sentinel, they repopped the old Sentinel kits eventually. So that they're available again.
Yeah. Very smart move. Damn.
Yeah, Bandai will do they'll go with the way where they make some money,
Yeah, definitely.
And Bandai screwed model graphics over Gundam Sentinel, not the other way around, because Bandai pulled out their support because they were going to release Char's Counterattack and they didn't want it to compete at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They were gonna have Gundam Sentinel running like a serial and model graphics, and they were like, people are gonna see the movie and then get the book, the magazine, and be like, what's the connection? What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't want it to be like that, and so that's what caused the rift. But it was like Bandai's bad blood to begin with. So eventually, when Bandai wanted to make money again, they were willing to
let go of that.
Yeah, they're like, remember how we were pissed at you for no reason? Yeah, we've decided to just forget about it. So that's why we have all the HGUC Super Gundam and all that cool EXS, all that cool stuff.
Yeah. When it first started with that shit, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, man, getting the Super Gundam or whatever, the gray Zeta. I forget what.
Zeta Plus.
Zeta Plus. That was really cool too. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I know it was basically a recolor, I think, with some tanks or something
Yeah, it was kind of like a focus or a trend towards a bit of aircraft realism, right?
Yeah.
To Gundams.
Yeah. It's got that the color scheme. Yeah.
It's like a
which makes
F-14
no sense for space,
straight out of Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
that's true.
It's painted to blend in with the sky and is only used in space.
Yeah. So over here, we've been recording for a little bit, and right now, so Nick, how it works is usually people who are listening, they have questions, and then I'll just shoot the question, you answer it, we'll discuss it. Sound good?
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the first question is, what is the most ridiculous model you've each seen? Oh, I guess this comes from his Royal Golden. I guess he wants everyone's answer, he or she. Okay. I guess Nick, you should go first. You're a guest.
I need a minute to think about it. Ridiculous model I've ever seen.
Oh, okay. I think I'll go first. Crabfish. A crabfish model.
What?
Like, those can be really cool.
They're cool, but I remember one of the first crabfish model kits I've ever seen has like a motor in it, and then I closed the box. I'm like, I don't ever want to see this again.
Wait,
what the fuck can you crab with fish with like a motor? What does that accomplish? Is it is it like one of those RC things where they start moving? Because I don't know, man. That's kind of fucked up.
I thought it was a ridiculous model. You guys know Battleship Yamato in like the late 70s. So the first Battleship Yamato model kit had like a motor, and it had wheels, and you could wind it up or whatever.
Oh fuck! I know what you're talking. Yeah,
and it was like fluorescent blue and red plastic. And,
yes.
People, like, there was a tutorial in Hobby Japan. There's like an article about how to like mod it to take out the toy parts and make it like TV accurate. And that was like a huge like anime model kit. And immediately after that kit, which by the way is like worth thousands of dollars if you can find an original one. But like immediately after that, the next Yamato kit was like done so that it matches perfectly the movie poster that's drawn at like an impossible proportion. So like there's a Battleship Yamato movie, and it had a really famous movie poster where the Yamato is like coming straight at you, like out of the poster, and it's like a view perspective that's actually technically impossible. Like it doesn't make sense.
It's forced perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's forced perspective. And so they released a model kit that has funny, weird proportions that if you look at it specifically from one angle, it will look exactly like the movie poster. And that's one of the most ridiculous kits I've ever seen.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Because it looks stupid 99% of the time, and then 1% of the time it's fucking wicked, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that one's a good one. I think that kit is actually pretty rare. But then again, like I've never seen Spaceship Yamato kits here, anyways, except the Bandai, like the Bandai $21.99 stuff.
The Yamato kits are weird because like you can get the small ones for like 100 yen, but the big ones, the bigger they get, the more fucking crazy the prices get because shipping from Japan is insane.
Yeah, so, you do most of your shopping on like Mandadake, right?
Yeah, or like I actually troll eBay a lot too. I have eBay alerts because it's like if you're looking for rare kits, you just have to like get them when they show up.
Yeah. Did you see George Tufani? I forgot his name. He's the guy who always shows up at Stan's meetings. He said he scored it was a 2 foot tall like Ultra 7 final kit.
Wow.
For $10. For $10.
Of course, but like that's crazy, man.
That's fucking insanity. Yeah.
Where did you find it?
eBay. I don't know what the fuck he was like searching, but he was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna buy that," and it showed up, and
it was $10. But how was the shipping? $200? Like,
no, it was like free or some shit like that.
That's ridiculous. That's a crazy good find, man.
Yeah, I'll send you photos for it after. I think he finished building it too. So,
yeah, wow.
I missed a shit of a lifetime.
Yeah.
All right. Dan's wackiest kit.
Most ridiculous kit I've ever seen. I don't know, man. I don't see like. I don't have a good answer for this because I don't see a lot of old school kits around, and if I'm like out perusing the shops, I'll be like, "Oh, that's interesting," and like forget about it. So I I don't know what the most ridiculous kit I've ever seen is because I've forgotten it already.
I've got another good highlight. I don't know. I can't remember what the kit is. How you'll probably know. So like in what was it? Sakura Media's like Gundam location that closed in Metrotown. Do you remember that store?
Yes.
There was like there was a kit that was like farm equipment, like a Honda like motor with like some
yeah.
Yes, I know that kit.
What the hell was that? That was like pretty. I mean, I thought that was really cool as well, but like
yeah,
I wouldn't. And also, it was like eventually it became super cheap because I guess no one was buying it because it was like on sale for like $20. But like,
what?
I thought that was pretty interesting, man.
Well, because no one was buying it, right? So it was like at half price. But as soon as fucking Kao Yokoyama like, builds one, the price like goes up again.
Yeah,
because they're all
he
riders.
He glued a couple spoons to it, and
I didn't realize like a damn.
Yeah.
Well, I'd gotten it if I knew it was that cheap. Fuck.
Yeah, I think some guy bought it already, anyways, and
God damn it.
the kit looks great, and I don't think it's there anymore. But okay, his Royal Golden. He asked. He rephrased the question and says, "I meant more like ridiculous custom, like someone making a cow out of a GM or something, like ridiculous custom."
I have an actual answer for that. I absolutely love like seeing on Japanese Twitter like modelers take 30-minute missions and like they'll take like 3 of the mono eye ones and make a goddamn T-Rex out of it. And I'm like, what? Cool. Okay,
Oh yeah, those ones are pretty popular and for kit bashing.
Yeah.
Most ridiculous. I mean, in recent memory, I think what's that stupid Gundam from that new dumb Gundam show called?
The narrative?
No. It's the one with the like big titties, but it's like sagging.
What?
And
what?
I think one of the guys on the server here posted it. It's good craftsmanship, but it's I don't know, it's disgusting.
What?
It's like highly cursed. I'll post photos of it, post editing, but
yeah. As it stands right now at a recording, I have no idea what the hell you mean by a Gundam with big titties.
I don't know. We'll get back to big titties.
Yeah, we'll get back to the questions, please.
I guess Nick, do you have a ridiculous one?
Do you guys know the builder E-Day?
E-Day?
No.
I
So
I don't know that guy.
He used to like compete in Hong Kong and stuff, and I think he like lives somewhere in Southeast Asia. I don't know where, but like he was like this like insane styrene scratch builder, and he built this Zeta Gundam that just had so much styrene on it. It was just completely unbelievable. It was like,
yes, I've seen. Wait. You're talking about that guy with the Rizel, and then he made like a Rizel, like giant meteor unit kind of thing for the Rizel, right?
Yeah, that's the same guy.
I know who you're talking about now, and
so yeah, his Zeta like I look at it and like I get depressed, like I get humbled. I'm like, like I spend my whole life building Gunpla. Maybe I could build something like this because it's just insane. Like I don't know how he does it, man. Like because it's so accurate. Like you look at his work, and like some guys they do a lot of stuff like, oh, I did my own panel lines, and you can look in it, and eventually you find where it's a little wavy or something. His stuff is perfect, like a machine. Like I'm certain
his stuff is so straight edge, robotic. Fills a lineup for that 100%. And I just got an update. Some guy posted the big titty Gundam.
This is crazy. Like
disgusting.
I mean, as a fan of like Bionicles, like that's not new seeing robots like that, but seeing a Gundam like this, oh god. Oh my god.
I'm lost.
I mean, there's craftsmanship there, and you can change the eyes to make it like happy pose, I guess. But
well, this is what we're talking about, right? Like the craftsmanship. The craftsmanship is there because it's the Japanese Twitter Gunpla group, right?
Yeah.
So there's skill there, but I just don't really want to look at it.
No, it's hella cursed.
Yeah.
Let's scroll back to the questions.
Yeah, you started off.
Real Transformer. What's the most important part of a pose to you? For me, as someone who's like done illustration stuff and who does comics and stuff, oftentimes I have to use a pose to illustrate a emotion in tandem with a what the text is saying, because that can be more powerful when the two are together. But I need to make sure that that one pose on its own is very strong. So you'll see like animators and stuff, they will wildly exaggerate the pose, so you see that, you instantly know, like, okay, this guy is sad or happy or whatever. And just, I also think in a pose too, seeing the silhouette of what I've built or what I'm displaying is equally just as important to me, because like
I think form is probably the most important part.
yeah.
But I think what's more important is actually the super glue. So
Okay.
so
I am actually giving
doesn't-
legitimate artistic.
I am giving a legitimate
glue.
from a real practical standpoint. You definitely need the fucking glue.
No, of course.
It's gonna fucking fall apart. I mean,
No.
super glue doesn't always fit on everything, right? So
The thing is though, like for my kit bashes and stuff, I've like started moving away from like the white cap Tamiya cement and like moving more towards like Bob Smith Industries like Maxicure like super thick super glue, and using either debonder or accelerant to like just have it instantly set. And it's just like one of those changes, like when I got the claw plate cutters, that made me go way faster from, scoring a piece of claw plate multiple times to cut one out and messing it up, to just click, it's there. Glue, spray, it's set.
Oh yeah, right. You have accelerator.
Yeah.
Sure. That's important. That's also important. Yeah.
Don't breathe it in though. That shit bad for you.
How about Nick? Is Nick?
Yeah.
Oh, Nick's
like what's important? I mean, that's kind of complicated, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's important to tell a story with your pose,
Yeah.
So like even if you don't have a base or a diorama, your kid should be telling a story. So like if it's like got battle damage, like is it like totally wrecked? Is it got like light damage? Is it like is it doing well in battle? Is it doing really badly? Like you can actually like convey a lot. Holy shit! There's an alarm that's going off.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Nick is are you outside a car? Inside a car. You're inside a car.
Inside my car. But I opened my window for air.
Yo, the
I
air
hear a little bit of that.
shit right now in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's bad. But what was I saying? Yeah, so your kid tells a story, and like I mean, yeah, it can totally be like the story can be really simple, like it's in maintenance or something like that. So like it's got like all the cool vents open and stuff. And like I think when you have a kit with really cool gimmicks, you should show them off. You should show what makes your kit special, right? Like some kits have like really cool like missiles and stuff like that you can like open the hatches for, or might have like a really, really cool frame for some reason and you want to show it off. So like, you're gonna take panels off. It's like you can tell a story. You can make a situation where it's in maintenance. You can put little tiny pieces of tape that say, caution, do not remove, that kind of stuff, that you can make it a maintenance situation without having to build a huge base,
Yeah.
And like people don't think about that when they're posing their kit. And people don't think about that, more importantly, like before they build their kit. Like they're just they're just going to paint it normal, and then they decide they're going to pose it. But like, you could totally paint it in a way that will help you out later to like basically tell a story. And like, I think I'm a huge fan of like the at rest pose. Like, I think that it's really cool, really powerful.
The at rest pose.
The just sitting around. Like, if you look at like classical art in like antiquity, like very, very many sculptures, people are just fucking sitting around.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of sculptures of people actually in battle. It's of people who have been stabbed and who are dying. Because that tells a much more powerful, image and story, right? And like, you can totally do that with Gunpla. Like, if you built a kit and it's just sitting there, you can still like really do things with it. But people don't. Like, it is just sitting there. It's just a fucking Zaku,
Just a fucking Zaku.
Yeah, he's just chilling, and like, like, I don't know.
Cool.
I think that's important. Telling a story with your pose, I guess, would be my
pose. Yeah, story. That's definitely for sure. Okay, well, we have one more question from. Oh, actually, it's two questions. His Royal Golden again, and it's which non-Gundam robot show? I guess it's specifically for Nick. Which non-Gundam robot show do you think is the most influential, and which has the best designs?
I definitely think the most non-Gundam or non-Gundam influential show is the classic Mazinger Z. Mazinger Z. Yeah, like, it really changed everything. Like, everything after that was completely different. Super robots before that were really basic, or like robots in general in anime, I think were more like like Gigantor.
Astro Boy, Gigantor.
Yeah. Like, they're really, really like under the Disney influence,
Yeah.
And Mazinger just fucking did its own thing, man. And they still, like, you look at Evangelion, there's like insane Mazinger influence, as much as Gundam, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, think about how many iconic, or like how many people reference back to like like a rocket punch, like that's
all
right?
rocket punches,
yeah.
And that's in everything. It's in Pacific Rim, even, like
I'm waiting for that one day for that live action Mazinger Z, and it's just some like rich white kid's pool, and it just spreads out.
Have you watched like the later Mazinger stuff, like Mazin Kaiser and shit?
I have watched Mazin Kaiser.
Like,
I
love it. The plot is complete nonsense. It makes no sense. They don't even try. They're just like, whatever, heavy metal and robots fighting,
Yeah.
And it's great. And they're like, we're on an island. Why? I don't know. Let's fight.
I think that's the same.
Shit. Let's see the robots fight,
Yeah, and it's great. And it totally works. And they're like, wow, they know what the fans want out of this, man.
Yeah, it's the same for Shin Robo as well. Like, they're more like darker takes, but they're all, at the end of the day, it's just stupid, ridiculous robots clashing, and they don't make any sense.
Hell yeah!
I mean, that's definitely the appeal.
And the classic Mazinger, like the manga, really was like dark, like, like, it had some like pretty serious themes, even though it was like
a guy, right?
Marketed towards children, right? And I think that really helped Gundam, especially, come on, like, where they're like, yeah, whatever, it's okay. Like, they can be really crazy mature and like have suicidal characters or whatever, And just because the kids won't understand anyways, and we're gonna sell toys.
The kids won't understand. That's true. Which has the best designs? Yeah, I think that's the part 2 of the question.
Yeah.
Which Gundam series or
which non-robot show has the best design?
Non-Gundam robot show?
Yeah. This is a tough one. I really think about it. Non-Gundam robot.
I have a bit of an
answer. 5-star stories, right?
5-star stories, yeah.
I mean, I have a love-hate thing, with 5-star stories.
Which part of 5-star stories fandom do you hate? You hate Nagano, or do you hate the fucking Bandai or the fans?
No, I mean, 5-star stories fans. Actually, I have a really interesting 5-star stories trivia thing. Did you know that Nagano had to like sue this company in Korea over 5-star stories?
What the fuck?
They were like publishing like scanlations in Korean of 5-star stories. So and they did like I think 5 volumes or something like that, and the quality was crazy high, and everyone was really happy with it. And then they released the 6th volume, or the last volume that they released, and like the quality was way less. And people were like, "What the fuck?" And so someone wrote a letter to like Nagano, and they were like, "What's going on with this? Can you like shed some light on it?" He's like, "I've never licensed 5-star stories in Korea," and so he like sued this company and won.
Damn. Oh my god!
And it like set a whole ton of legal precedents towards like piracy in Korea and manga and stuff, because before that it was like the Wild West.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, back then they could have just done whatever the fuck they wanted.
But yeah, I kind of like I hate Nagano, but also I just think that it's like his 5-star story stuff is beautiful. It just looks so cool, man. I love like the European suits of armor vibe. I love how complex it is. You know, like I love how prohibitive it is for like a model kit, where it's just like aggressively difficult. You know.
Yeah.
Like I just think that that's cool, and it's so distinct. Like I think that that's probably
5-star story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it's he had so many like different iterations of the story too, and like there's like a rebirth or a redone version of 5-star story. Like I still don't know what the fuck is up with like Mortarhead. Like I don't even know what that is. But 5-star story, I think you don't really even need to. There is no show, right? I mean, just the robots.
I mean, there's an OVA. It's like one OVA.
Yeah. I think the guys on Discord here watched it.
It's an insanely beautiful OVA, by the way. Like if you can see it in 1080p, the animation is crazy.
Yeah, he was talking about some like 16K, 32K phenomenon. Did I tell you about that? Yeah.
We talked. Like but you know what? Like I looked into it. Like 16K. Like I don't think that that's actually possible. Like I think at most the film is in 8K. And I read an article about how there's like no way it's more than 8K. And
I have no fucking idea what the fuck was going on, but he was talking about it. I'll link you to the Forbes article.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like in a George Lucas position where it's like, hey man, are you making film? He's like, no. I mean, yes. But I only show my friends. Like that kind of shit, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like Nagano has a lot of like pride in his work. And he can't stomach it getting judged, right?
Yeah. I just wish he would do more different things. Like I feel like he's gone stale.
Yeah, I mean, he said like I want my robots to be futuristic, something that like a generation or two or a century later, people would look at my drawings and be like, "Wow, that's futuristic." But instead, nowadays, he went on quote as like saying like there are kids who, see my robots and be like, "Ah, oji-san no roboto," right? Like old man robot.
Yeah.
Like like this, like, oh, you like robots? Wow, you're such a fucking loser. But so he says like in a way I have failed, right? Because he really want to desperately try to create that like futurism. He's trying to kind of like emulate Sid Mead, right? That
I don't know. If we could take
stuff.
like an old school anime director and have brought them to the future and shown them robots and technology, and then thrown them back and said make an anime about it that looks accurate.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that anime would not have done well because it looks like shit. It's not stylish or cool.
Yeah.
It's not flashy. It's not colorful. Like one of the coolest robots we have now is like the walking Gundam, right? Like, but like what else? Like Osmo or whatever, like the Honda robot or whatever. Like,
oh yeah.
Looks like shit, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's no Mazinger
charming,
Z,
but okay.
I mean, it's no Mazinger Z, right?
No.
Yeah. No. I think if Osmo hit you with a rocket fist, it wouldn't look as cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, robots today aren't at all stylish or interesting, right? Like even like we have like some exoskeleton stuff, like power suits and stuff like that actually exist, right?
Yeah.
And, like, Like, you ever see like those deep sea like underwater welding scuba suits that are like they're made out of metal and stuff? They're like really cool. They look like Soviet spacesuit kind of, you know. And like even that stuff, like that's more like Maquet, I guess, but like
Yeah,
it's not
Maquet,
glamorous at all, you know. Like it's not, yeah, it doesn't lend itself to toy sales, I guess.
Yeah, toys. Cow's like stuff is it's still lasting till this day, which I find really actually surprising. He did a bunch of like weird stuff in the 80s, and then
Yeah,
I guess Maquet just really took off. Like Maquet has a contemporary art following now, eh? So like, you know, these sneaker, like he would get a sneaker deal, right?
Wow.
And like what's that stupid company called? Oh no, I was thinking about something else. What's that guy's name? The artist, the one that draws flowers and shit.
Oh,
Paul,
a
Paul like Palm,
um,
Palm. I think his name is Paul Murakami. Yeah, that's right, Murakami.
yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
god,
so
super
yeah,
fly.
yeah, Murakami. Like, you know, and Cow. They're kind of like almost in the same kind of realm. Except you know, Cow is more like plastic, right? But
Mhm.
they still kind of get the same type of deal now because I think the aesthetic that he created in instruction manuals were just so hot. Like the box art was so hot too. It's so
Yeah.
stylized that there's a huge following for it now. And I know that I've never met I'd say like casual Maquet fan. Like I think people who know about Maquet like would know a lot about it, or they know nothing at all
Yeah,
about it, right? Yeah. So I don't know. He's got a crazy following.
Yeah.
But I guess that transitions to the last question that his Royal Golden had, which was, who has informed your stylistic choices the most? I think what he means is like, who influenced you the most when you make
I think
art.
like yeah, which has informed your stylistic choices the most? Like what do you really look for? Like myself, Obari and like Super Robot like runs through my taste, you know? So someone or something like that from Nick.
I don't know, Nick. Nick, what do you like?
Yeah.
I actually I've seen Nick build a couple of stuff, but it's like he made a SD Neo Geo or a SDDO,
Nice.
and he used like a watch, like he uses like components inside a watch, and I don't know, I don't really remember much about it. Nick, are you? I'm not sure
yeah.
if
It,
yeah,
it was
okay,
like
yeah,
it was a Makoto Kobayashi style
yeah,
Nice.
Kobayashi styled
VO,
Dio.
SDVO, and so like it was gray and like, and it had this huge skirt, you know, that I made out of
Yeah,
styrene. And
yeah,
yeah, they had like, it didn't have watch parts. It had like gears and stuff from like a tank model kit.
yeah,
So like I had like scratch build a bunch of internal stuff. So like there were like cutaways where you could see in at the internals, and there would be just like random, you know, random parts from the tank. But like, yeah, Kobayashi influenced me a lot. Uh, I would say more so that like I was influenced by Kazuhisa Kondo
yeah.
because I just like, I think his stuff is amazing.
The
Like
grunt.
all of his kits that he put out, you know, like Goblin and stuff like that, you know, Bound Dock, right? Like all that stuff is like so
Yeah,
cool. Like
yeah,
I love it, man. And I read his manga of the 0079, you know,
yeah.
and which like it's kind of redundant now because you can just actually watch the show. Like it's
Hmm.
really accessible. But
Yep.
like it's really interesting because like Kazuhisa Kondo's style is like he never draws the same thing the same, like the same, he never draws something the same way twice. So like even if it's on the same page, like one panel
Mm.
it'll be like drawn in like a certain kind of way, and a couple panels later it's like totally different.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like it just makes going through like those mangas like really interesting because you can see all kinds of like interesting like proportions and stuff like that. And like like what suddenly he'll just put fucking rivets all over stuff, you know? And it's really interesting, you know? It's really cool.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you get to see all kinds of really neat ideas, and I loved his artwork, and I still do. I think that his stuff is great, and it influenced me a lot. And like the people who built model kits in his style, like all those model kits, I think are really good looking.
Yeah, I think Kondo is like a very acquired taste. That I don't know. Did you really like Kondo when you first saw it? Like when you knew, if you knew nothing about Gundam and you saw Kondo?
Yeah, well, like initially, like when I first watched like 0079 Gundam, like I got the third movie like on VHS. And so I didn't know what happened in the first two movies. I just knew that like Amuro was this guy in the Gundam, he's fighting Char, and the rest of it's awesome, you know?
Yeah.
But like I didn't know any of the story up to that point. So like I found like in a bookstore, like just the Kazuhisa Kondo Gundam manga in English, and I was able to buy like however many volumes so that I could find out like what the story was up until the third movie.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
So,
a very
like,
interesting way to experience Gundam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like later on, like I found out that Kazuhisa Kondo was like a huge deal, and I was already really like familiar with his artwork and stuff. Like I remember being in like school, like tracing Kazuhisa Kondo drawings and not knowing who he was. You know?
Oh wow.
So like yeah, he had a really huge influence on me for sure.
Yeah, I think Kondo had a lot of like, yeah, it's acquired taste. I think people who are new to Gundam nowadays, I don't think they would like look at a Kondo design and be like, wow, this is the most amazing thing ever. I think
sure.
Yeah, the taste is really.
I think today it's borderline inaccessible. You know, like yeah, it's not. But I mean, it's a style.
Yeah. Kondo stuff is definitely
it's very stylized. I mean, like before I got into Gunpla and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, I like cool robots. I was really looking at a lot of Kobayashi and Kondo because I'm like, this stuff is cool. This is what I like, because way back before I was into super robots like I'm in now, I was capital R real robot fan. So like his stuff looking more like realistic at the same time as a stylized. I'm just like, oh damn, I love this. And then I grew taste from
I mean that's just
gateway into good taste.
Yeah, good taste, subjective, whatever. People like what they like, but some are better than the other.
There we go.
No, I didn't say shit. Well, we're almost nearing up 9 o'clock. It's almost been 2 hours. Well, Nick, thanks for the talk today. Where can people find you?
Oh, I'm on Instagram at Pickpla.
At
Pickpla. Yeah.
All right, cool. And what kind of stuff do you post on there?
All kinds of like old model kit stuff. So like vintage models, vintage Gunpla, like Gundam history stuff, rare kits. I build like lots of really old, random Japanese model kits. So
awesome. All right, cool.
Great to finally meet you and have you on the podcast. Like I've been anticipating this day for a long time, so you know.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, I mean technically.